Hello, friends. Nick Norton here, and a few people liked my last video, which was my first video, and I got a question about the template I was using in it. Um, so I thought it would be helpful to go through and show kind of the template that I use and how I use folders and stuff like that to navigate a session very quickly and easily. And then also how you store templates and the way I do it, which I think is pretty useful. Um, so this is a movie I'm just starting my work on, and the first thing I'm gonna do when I start screwing with tracks and stuff like that is save a new version, which you want to do pretty much anytime you're about to make a major change. So you press Command Control S, and I'm gonna call this Wow Cut. What I'm Because we're making a template, I'm going to change the name to something dramatically different that's like out of the version order because we're not really going to be working on any audio in this one. So, cool, great. Um I use these folder tracks to keep all the different food groups of sound that you would use in a movie uh, easy to access and organize and just see on your screen. And you can do the same thing in music. Like, for instance, if you have four guitar parts, throw them in a folder called guitars. Um, the way you do that is really, really simple to make them. Let's just make some new tracks here. Press Command Shift N, type 8. I was actually going to make some anyway, but mono's fine, whatever, and we'll call these folder tests because never name anything just audio unless you want to lose it later. So these are all highlighted. You can highlight them by doing that. And then right click and move to a new folder, and we'll just call this one folder. Now you can see you've got basic folder or routing folder here. A basic folder is solely visual. It has nothing to do with processing or routing or anything like that. Those are what I use, and I prefer to use those because not everyone uses folders. So if you give them a routing folder and you've got processing on it, it could annoy someone else that you're working with. And also, I like to see my routing explicitly in my IO rather than having weird layers I didn't create. So I stick with basic folder. Create, all the tracks pop into a folder. You can then open and close it by clicking this little icon on the left where my mouse is here. See? Um, Also, real useful is using the tracks list on the left to navigate. So, if you don't see that, there's a little pop out arrow at the bottom left here. Hit that, and then you can just be like, I want to see music. Boom. Also, good trick, Control Shift click on a track, and it jumps your screen to there, so you can do that kind of thing. Which, when you have a whole ton of tracks open, you know, oh, I'm whatever. You know how to do this if you know how to use Pro Tools. Let's talk about the template itself. So I have dialogue A and dialogue B. I do that. That's called checkerboarding, so that you can just quickly see where scenes are. So there's no dialogue in the very beginning of this movie. And there's something going on here, and then a different scene here, and then a different scene here. Makes it kind of easy to work on if you're like, oh, I have an hour, I can kill this scene. Uh, Maybe that kind of thing is helpful to you. It's helpful to me. Um, then production effects. Oh, within each of these, I have all my dialogue tracks. Can make those bigger and smaller by pressing Command up and down. Or Control up and down, excuse me. And yeah, you know what tracks look like. We don't have to get into that if you're into working with templates. But you're my normal set and futz tracks down here, which is like making radio sounds and stuff like that. B scenes we already talked about. PFX or production effects, that's any sound that comes in that was recorded on set came in with the dialogue tracks, but is a sound effect. Foley tracks are here. I haven't done that yet, but here's 16 of them in case we need them. Mono effects are things like hard effects for me for the most part. So like explosion, that might be stereo, or object getting dropped, or a door shutting hard, or whatever you're gonna add to make the movie sweeter. Stereo effects for me tend to be more designed effects, your whooshes and transitions and stuff like that. But sometimes, I'll use a stereo carby or stereo backgrounds. Backgrounds are here. I use mono and stereo backgrounds, and I color code them slightly differently. You want to color code a folder, you just select everything in that folder, including the folder track, and click over here and click it. I'm not going to change it because I like what I have. Yeah, so that's pretty much the template. Let's delete this guy I just made. Yeah, and delete the folder tracks within it, or the tracks within it, excuse me. And just to show how to do it quickly and how to make and add tracks quickly as you think of them, I actually realized I want a few more options in my music folder. I'm mostly a music editor. I do sound more like for fun and side gigs, but my day job is music editing. And I have a template with like 32 tracks and all that kind of stuff for that. But so this MX is just generic for stereo music track. You might see score for the soundtrack and songs or source for the needle drop stuff. You might, and what I'm just going to do right now, just to slightly improve this template, is make some stems tracks. So stems are pretty much always stereo. You get to this window by pressing Command-Shift N for new. And you usually have at least 8 of them. Sometimes you have like 5, but it's good to make 16 so you can checkerboard your stems if necessary. And then you press Command right to change them to stereo. You can scroll through all your sound, what do they call it, track width options by holding Command and pressing left and right. You can scroll through your track types by holding Command and pressing up and down. And I talk about shortcuts a lot because it just makes you so much faster and fluent with the software. So you can just think about, I want to put this here, and you just type it and it happens instead of trying to figure shit out. So yeah, what did I say we're doing? Stems. I usually call these stems. And, if I wanted to do 2 track types at the same time, you can press Command plus. And in addition to stems, let's just make some songs ones, because I might use those on a future project or something. So that's all looking good. We'll call this songs. Great. Press enter. Those are all created. I like greens for music. I'm a little bit synesthetic, and a lot of my favorite music is kind of green and teal and what have you. So let's use that green. That's nice because it's like a little darker than this green, and these are the stems that this is made of. Yeah, cool. And songs. Blue's kind of cool for songs, actually. Yeah. Yeah, I like having the songs jump out at you a little because you're like, oh, this is different from the score. This is someone paid to license this, so don't screw it up. It's a nice little warning. Okay, now something I have to do that you might not have to do, and I'm not going to get into routing in this video, is reroute new tracks. I don't know how to set a default for that. I wonder if that's possible. But if we're saving a template, you never have to deal with it. So I see this says it's coming from my pedal board, all on track 1. That's interesting. Oh, that's my only stereo input. Okay. So I'm just going to press Command or hold Shift and click here. You could also have done that on the thing over here if you don't like moving your mouse so far. And then hold Option Shift, and that will do whatever you do to all of the selected tracks. And click over here and go to no input. And now we're not gonna somehow record over a stem, right? It's just a safety thing. And then I use a stereo monitor bus to monitor loudness and see if I want to try some, crazy sound effect on everything without thinking about where I put it. I just throw it on here and it affects the whole mix. So I'm going to make sure everything is routed to that because right now it's just routed directly to the speakers. So again, Option Shift click, no, not no output. If you do no output, you can't hear anything. What am I doing? Let's go to bus, STMon. Cool, and now we're gonna hear all this just fine. Oh no, I wanted those muted for this project, but I don't want them muted for the template we're about to save. I want everything open so that if I just create something new, I can start working anywhere without thinking about it. Great. Cool, this all looks good. Let's close it so it looks pretty. Do I want to save markers in the template? No. So let's get rid of these guys. I'm just holding Option that turns your mouse into an eraser, and you can just click on them and get rid of them like that. Oh, this is kind of interesting. The guy I'm doing this for just wants like a test of the first 3 minutes, and see this marker number 5 is time coded at the beginning, but you don't see it here. That's because it's not a location marker like these guys where it jumps around your cursor to, why is zoom in not working? Oh, damn it. Sometimes when you have a video file, zooming in and out kind of weirdly slows things down, I find, if you've clicked around it real quick and then zoom in. Now I just have to fill time. You can't see it, I don't think, but I have the spinning beach ball right now. And this is a new computer, so I don't like it when that happens, but I sprung for like the lowest model to just hold me over till I can buy a tower or something like that that I'll probably never actually need. Anyway, so yeah, clicking on these normal markers, location markers, jump the cursor back and forth. But if you're going to export something a bunch of times, it's nice to make these range markers. That isn't doing what it's... Oh. Where the... You can see it at the top. Okay, we're good. Sorry, I didn't plan this video. You can see when I click on that, instead of going here or here, it selects from here out to where I want to end, 559. And the way you do that is you just select a region and you press enter like usual. But instead of having marker checked, you check selection. And now, whenever I click this, boom, that lights up and you can just hit export on the exact same thing every time. Makes it good for comparing 2 songs in the same scene or something like that. Okay, how do we save this? First, we get rid of everything we don't need. Gone, gone, gone. Actually, I'm going to keep my FFOP on number 2. That's me. We can leave all the media in because it's not going to save it if we save as a template. I'm going to get rid of the reference track and the video track because when I import a new video for a different project, then it'll make its own tracks. So this all looks fine. Then we go File, Save As Template. We make sure it's in the right category. Select location we're going to talk about, but we don't check include media unless you have something like the intro and outro music for a podcast where you always want to have that the same in every episode. And I was making this thing the other day, so I'm going to do that and name it Today. And click OK. You can choose where in your system templates are stored, and this is pretty useful actually. If you go to Settings and somewhere in here you can go, under Operations, see Documents and Settings. I've got them in my Dropbox in a folder I use to store things like this, and it means when I go to a new computer, I just change this to that same folder, and I've got all my old settings and stuff back. So that's something I think more people should probably do instead of using the default locations. All right, so this is saved as a template. Now watch what happens. I'm just going to hit save. And actually, so I don't do anything stupid, I'm going to go back to this edit I was working on so that you can really see the difference. Yeah, I'm missing 4 audio files. I'll deal with that later. Okay, I don't actually need those. Hooray. So we've got this session I'm working on, and let's say I want to create something new, so I'm going to press Command-Shift-N. No, that's tracks. I'm going to press Command-N, and now if I check this Create from Template box, here I can select the template we just saved a second ago, and let's just call this YouTube Thinger. And prompt for location, we'll just do it on the desktop or whatever. Whew, I forgot you can see my desktop when I do this. That's exciting. Cool. That'll create the project folder. There it is. And look at, it even has the color palette still open. Oh, that's so pretty. Okay, cool. And now we have a completely empty project. We can start from scratch, but look at this. My plugin is on the same settings as it was. I had that on the other screen previously. I don't have to reset my mix chain. Everything's routed correctly. See, it's all going to the stereo monitor bus with no input. Cool. That's it. I hope that was helpful. I believe I'm supposed to tell you to leave comments and like and subscribe and turn on notifications for new videos. So do that. And I have a record coming out this summer. Cool. See you later.